Hey everybody, ready for a deep dive into some seriously cool life advice?
I know I am.
Today's source material might just surprise you though.
Oh,
We're going to be cracking open the wisdom of everybody's free to wear sunscreen.
that hit song from the late 90s.
You got it. Bet you didn't expect a pop song to be our deep dive material.
Yeah.
But there's a twist.
I love a good twist.
It's actually based on a newspaper column.
interesting.
Yeah, so it's this really unique blend of pop culture and timeless advice.
I'm intrigued. Let's unpack it.
All right, so we're here to explore what makes this advice so enduring and so relatable.
Even years later.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm ready.
So let's just jump right in and start with the most iconic line.
You mean wear sunscreen?
That's the one. It's almost a cliche at this point, but I'm curious.
Okay.
Why do you think this piece of advice has become so ingrained in our culture?
I think it's a combination of practicality and symbolism.
Mm-hmm.
On a practical level, well, the science is undeniable.
Sure.
Sunscreen protects your skin from those harmful UV rays.
Right. Reducing the risk of skin cancer and premature aging.
It's essential.
It is.
Yeah.
But it also represents something deeper,
Like what?
like taking care of yourself.
Ah, I see.
Making choices today that will benefit your future self.
So it's like an act of self-love.
Exactly. A reminder that you're worth protecting.
And that theme of prioritizing your well-being, I feel like it runs throughout the whole song.
Both physically and mentally.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's so powerful.
And speaking of well-being, there's that line about looking back at photos,
Oh, yeah.
like 20 years later, and realizing how good you looked.
Ah, so true. That feeling of youthful invincibility.
That sense of possibility.
Yeah, you just don't fully appreciate it until it's gone.
I know.
It's a classic case of hindsight, isn't it?
I guess so.
We often romanticize the past,
Yeah,
longing for simpler times.
totally.
But there's a certain beauty in recognizing that every stage of life,
Right.
it has its own unique charm.
It does.
Those photos, they capture a fleeting moment in time.
A snapshot of who we were at that particular stage.
It's beautiful.
At our journey.
It really makes you want to just grab your younger self.
And say,
Hey, enjoy this moment. Soak it all in.
if only we could, right?
I know, it's a paradox of time.
We can't fully appreciate the present.
Until...
We have the perspective of the past.
Oh, that's deep.
It's like that saying, youth is wasted on the young.
So true.
Okay, ready to tackle a big one.
Hit me.
Worry. The song has this brilliant analogy.
I love their analogies.
It says, worrying about the future
Okay.
is as effective as trying to solve an algebra equation. Chewing bubblegum.
That's such a great analogy. I love it.
It is.
So vivid.
So relatable.
It is. Why do you think we humans are so prone to worry?
Even when we know it's often futile.
Yeah, why do we do that to ourselves?
Well, worry is a natural human response.
To...
Uncertainty.
No.
It's our brain's way of trying to anticipate and prepare potential threats.
I suppose that makes sense.
But the problem is our minds often go into overdrive,
Yeah.
conjuring up these worst-case scenarios that rarely come to pass.
Oh, yeah.
And all that anxiety, it can be paralyzing,
Yeah.
preventing us from taking action or even just enjoying the present moment.
Ugh, so how do we break free from that worry cycle?
Any tips?
I'm all ears.
Well, one strategy is to differentiate between productive and unproductive worry. So if a worry is solvable,
Then what?
create a plan of action and take steps to address it.
Gotcha.
But if it's something outside of your control,
Which so many things are.
so many things, you really have to try to shift your focus, the
Yeah.
present moment.
Right.
Things like mindfulness techniques and deep breathing exercises,
Yeah.
they can be incredibly helpful in calming those anxious thoughts.
Those racing thoughts.
Absolutely.
So it's like recognizing that we don't have to believe every thought.
That pops into our heads.
Exactly.
It's a skill that takes practice.
It really does.
But the more we can train our minds to focus on the present, right?
To let go of those what ifs,
Yeah.
the more peace and freedom we'll experience.
So much freedom.
It's worth it.
Okay, now I love the shift in energy when the song moves from worry to taking risks.
Me too. It's so inspiring.
Sing, dance, do one thing every day that scares you.
It's like a call to action.
It is. It's a reminder to embrace life fully.
I love that.
So what do you think is the power of stepping outside our comfort zones?
You know, that's where growth happens.
Hmm,
Our comfort zones, they're cozy and familiar,
they are.
but they can also be limiting.
I see your point.
When we challenge ourselves, when we push past those self-imposed boundaries,
Okay.
we discover hidden strengths
Wow.
and unlock new possibilities.
That's incredible.
It is.
And it doesn't even have to be some grand life-altering feat.
Right.
It could be as simple as striking up a conversation with a stranger.
I like that one.
Or trying a new hobby.
That's a good one.
It's about accumulating those small wins.
Those moments of courage.
That build our confidence and expand our horizons.
It's like building a muscle.
Oh, I like that.
The more we exercise it.
The stronger it becomes.
Exactly. And that ties into the idea of seizing opportunities, right?
Not letting fear hold us back.
From pursuing our dreams.
Absolutely. Fear is a natural part of the human experience.
It is.
But it shouldn't dictate our choices.
No, it shouldn't.
The song encourages us to take those leaps of faith.
Right?
To trust our instincts and to embrace the unknown.
Ooh, with open arms.
Yes.
I love that. All right, let's move into the realm of relationships.
One of my favorite topics.
Be careful with hearts. Don't put up with recklessness.
Good advice.
But also, hold on to those precious friends.
It's so important.
It's like a roadmap for navigating the complexities of human connection.
It really is.
What stands out to you in this section?
I think it's the acknowledgement that relationships are both precious and ever-evolving.
They are.
We should cherish those deep, meaningful connections.
The ones that
bring joy and support to our lives.
I completely agree.
But it's also important to recognize that people change.
That's true.
Circumstances change.
They do.
And sometimes those relationships need to evolve or even
come to an end.
It's sad, but it's true.
There's that really poignant line about needing the people who knew you when
you were young.
Yeah. Why do you think those early friendships hold such a special place in our hearts?
I think they represent a shared history.
A connection.
To our past selves.
That makes sense.
Those friends, they witnessed our awkward phases.
Oh, yeah.
Our triumphs and failures.
For sure.
They hold a piece of our story.
They do.
And that's something incredibly valuable.
It is. It's like they have a window into our souls.
A deeper understanding of who we are at our core.
Exactly. And as we get older, those connections become even more precious.
It's like having a living link to your past. A reminder of where you've come from and how far you've grown.
It's beautiful.
It is.
Okay, before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, let's talk about a piece of advice that's so crucial in today's world. Social media comparison.
I know where you're going with this.
Don't waste your time on jealousy.
Oh, jealousy is the worst.
It is. Run your own race.
Yeah.
What do you make of that?
Comparison is the thief of joy, as they say.
So true.
And it's never been easier to fall into that trap.
What with?
Social media constantly showcasing highlight reels.
Of other people's lives.
Exactly.
It's like we're bombarded with images of perfection.
It can be so overwhelming.
It makes it hard to appreciate our own unique journeys.
It really does.
So what's the antidote to that?
The key is to remember that everyone is running their own race.
Right.
Facing their own challenges and celebrating their own victories.
It's so easy to forget that.
It is.
So focusing on our own path, on our own progress.
That's the key to finding fulfillment, inner peace.
I like that.
It's a journey.
It is. It's about recognizing that success is not a one-size-fits-all concept.
It's different for everybody.
What matters is that we're striving towards goals that are meaningful to us.
That align with our values and passions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And when we shift our focus from comparison to self-compassion,
right,
from envy to empowerment,
such a good point.
We open ourselves up to a world of possibilities.
Endless possibilities.
This has been so insightful.
I know, we've covered a lot of ground.
From sunscreen to worry to relationship.
And we're just getting started.
We are. In part 2, we'll delve into some of the more quirky
and thought-provoking
pieces of advice from this song. So stay tuned.
Can't wait. Welcome back to our deep dive into everybody's free to wear sunscreen.
Where we're uncovering the surprising depth of wisdom hidden within these catchy lyrics.
Absolutely.
It's amazing how these seemingly simple phrases they can spark such profound reflections.
It really is something.
Okay, so as we continue our exploration, I'm struck by this contrast between the advice about self-reliance and the earlier emphasis on cherishing relationships.
That's interesting.
On one hand, the song tells us, don't expect anyone else to support you. Maybe you'll have a trust fund, maybe you'll have a wealthy spouse.
Right.
But you never know when either one might run out.
That's true.
It's a bit jarring.
It is a little bit, yeah.
But there's this real sense of empowerment in that message.
I see what you mean.
It's like a call to build your own foundation.
Okay.
To cultivate a sense of independence and resilience.
I like that.
Knowing that you have the strength to weather life's storms.
Even if you have to do it alone.
Exactly.
It's about taking ownership of your life, both financially and emotionally.
You got it.
It plays into that theme of accepting uncertainty that we discussed earlier.
Yeah, for sure.
Life is full of unexpected twists and turns.
So true.
And being prepared to navigate those challenges on your own.
It's invaluable.
Absolutely.
But it's not about isolating yourself, right?
Nah, not at all.
Or rejecting support when it's offered.
It's more about cultivating a deep sense of self-trust. Knowing that you have the resources and resilience
To handle whatever life throws your way.
Exactly.
So it's about finding that balance.
Between nurturing connections and cultivating independence.
I see. That makes sense.
It's a delicate balance.
It is.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit.
Right.
There's some advice in here that feels very specific to the time period.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Like, don't mess too much with your hair, or by the time you're 40, it will look 85.
Uh-huh. That's a good one.
It definitely dates the song.
It does.
But do you think there's a timeless message hidden beneath that baited language?
I think so. What do you think it is?
I think it speaks to the broader theme of self-acceptance.
Interesting.
It's about embracing your natural beauty.
Right.
Resisting the pressure to conform to ever-changing trends.
It's a reminder that true beauty comes from within.
From confidence and self-love.
Not from trying to fit some external ideal.
Exactly. And that message is more relevant than ever. Today's world of filtered selfies and social media perfection. It's a constant bombardment.
Okay, here's one I found particularly intriguing.
Let's hear it.
Read the directions, even if you don't follow them.
That's a good one.
What do you make of that?
It's such a playful way of encouraging us to be informed.
Okay.
To understand the rules of the game, even if we choose to bend them a little.
Like, be aware of the norms and expectations.
Yes.
But don't be afraid to forge your own path.
Exactly. It's a subtle invitation to think critically.
To question the status quo.
And maybe even find creative ways to disrupt it.
And it's beautifully juxtaposed with the next line.
What's that?
Do not read beauty magazines. They will only make you feel ugly.
Haha, I love that.
It's a powerful reminder to be mindful of the messages we're consuming.
Especially those that promote unrealistic beauty standards.
It's about protecting your mental health.
Recognizing that those images are often airbrushed and unattainable.
And it ties back to that earlier message about self-acceptance.
Right. Defining beauty for yourself on your own terms.
Rather than letting it be dictated by external forces.
It's about celebrating your individuality.
Your uniqueness.
And recognizing that true beauty comes in all shapes, sizes, and forms.
Now, here's a piece of advice that really resonated with me.
I'm listening.
Get to know your parents. You never know when they'll be gone for good.
That's a tough one.
It's a poignant reminder of the preciousness of time.
Yeah.
And the importance of cherishing those familial bonds.
Our relationships with our parents can be complex.
They can be.
But they're also irreplaceable.
It's a reminder to appreciate them.
To make an effort to connect, even if it's not always easy.
And it ties back to the advice about valuing your siblings.
Right.
Your link to the past.
Family is a powerful force.
It is.
And those bonds deserve to be nurtured and celebrated.
Speaking of family, there's also some interesting advice about travel.
Oh, yeah.
Live in New York City once, but leave before it makes you hard. Live in Northern California once, but leave before it makes you soft.
What do you think the speakers are getting at here?
I don't know. It's fascinating.
It really is. I think it raises questions about the influence of place on identity.
Okay.
How much does our environment shape who we are?
Right.
And how do we maintain a sense of self while exploring different cultures and ways of life?
It's like saying experience the world.
Broaden your horizons.
But don't let any one place define you completely.
Exactly. It's about finding that balance.
Between
immersing yourself in new experiences and staying true to your core values.
It's a reminder that growth is an ongoing process.
A journey of self-discovery.
It continues throughout our lives.
Beautiful.
All right, let's dive into some of the more playful and quirky pieces of advice.
Okay, I like those.
Keep your old love letters. Throw away your old bank statements.
Uh-huh. What's the wisdom behind that one?
I love the contrast.
Me too.
It's about recognizing the difference between sentimental value
and
practical considerations.
I see.
Like love letters represent memories and emotions.
While bank statements are just cold, hard facts.
Exactly. It suggests that it's okay to hold on to things that spark joy.
Even if they don't have any monetary value.
It's about prioritizing what truly matters.
What brings meaning to our lives.
And it's a reminder that sometimes the most valuable things are the ones we can't put a price tag on.
So true.
Now, here's one that I think speaks to the importance of finding joy in the everyday.
Okay.
Dance, even if you have nowhere to do it but your living room.
I love that one.
It's such a simple yet powerful message.
About
Embracing those moments of pure, unadulterated fun.
letting go of inhibitions.
Moving your body, feeling the music.
Regardless of your skill level or where you are.
Who cares if you're not a professional dancer?
Ha ha ha. Exactly.
Just let loose and enjoy the moment.
It's about finding those little sparks of joy in the mundane, those
right.
moments that remind us to be present.
And to celebrate the simple pleasures of life.
Absolutely.
And it ties into the earlier advice about enjoy your body. Use it every way you can.
It's a celebration of physicality, of being alive in this moment.
Exactly. Okay, before we move on to the final part of our deep dive, we have to address the recurring theme.
Oh, you mean?
The advice that bookends this entire song. Wear sunscreen.
It's everywhere.
Why do you think the speaker chose to emphasize this particular piece of advice?
Above all others?
Yeah.
It's interesting, isn't it?
It is. It's the only piece of advice that's repeated and emphasized.
And it's delivered with such conviction.
I know.
I think it's because sunscreen, in a way,
represents
a tangible action we can take to protect ourselves.
both literally and metaphorically.
It's about taking care of our physical well-being, of course.
But also about making choices that will benefit us in the long run.
It's a metaphor for being proactive.
For taking responsibility for our own health and happiness.
Exactly.
And it's a reminder that even small actions, taken consistently over time,
Can have a profound impact on our lives.
it's about making those daily choices that add up to a life well lived.
A life that's both fulfilling and meaningful.
We've covered so much ground in this part of our deep dive.
We have exploring themes of self-reliance,
Self-acceptance,
the importance of relationships.
and the power of finding joy in the everyday.
We've really gone deep.
Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into everybody's free to wear sunscreen.
It's amazing how much we've unpacked, right?
I know. It feels like we've barely scratched the surface.
There's just so much wisdom packed into these lyrics.
So as we step back and look at the big picture, what do you think is the overarching message of this song?
The one thing the speaker really wants us to remember.
Yeah, what's the core message?
You know, I think it's about embracing the journey of life.
Okay.
With all its complexities and contradictions.
The ups and the downs.
Exactly.
It's about finding joy in the simple things, right?
Cherishing connections.
Navigating those inevitable ups and downs with grace and resilience.
It's like a roadmap for living a meaningful life.
I love that analogy.
Not a set of rigid rules, but more like,
Gentle nudges.
yeah, encouraging us to be present, to be kind to ourselves and others.
And to make choices that align with our values.
It's a beautiful message.
It really is.
And it reminds us that we're not alone on this journey.
We're all in this together.
We all face similar challenges. We all experience moments of doubt and uncertainty.
And we all have that capacity for growth and transformation.
That's the beauty of it.
One of the things that struck me is how the song weaves together these seemingly contradictory pieces of advice.
Like what?
Well, on one hand, it encourages us to be self-reliant.
To build our own foundations, not rely on external support.
Exactly.
But then it also stresses the importance of relationships.
Of cherishing those deep connections that give our lives meaning.
I see what you mean.
It's like this delicate balance we all strive for.
Between independence and interdependence.
Yeah.
Self-reliance and the need for connection and belonging.
It's about cultivating our own inner strength.
But not being afraid to lean on others when we need support.
It's about recognizing that we're all part of this larger web of relationships.
And that those connections can be both a source of strength and vulnerability.
Absolutely.
Another recurring theme is the idea of accepting the things we can't control.
Right. The song keeps reminding us that life is full of unexpected twists and turns.
And that trying to micromanage every outcome is a recipe for frustration.
And disappointment.
It encourages us to surrender to the flow of life.
To trust that things will unfold as they should.
Even when it feels uncertain or chaotic.
It's almost a Zen-like approach.
Accepting what is, letting go of attachment to outcomes, finding peace in the present moment.
It doesn't mean we should be passive or resigned, though.
No, it's more about recognizing that we don't always have all the answers.
And that sometimes the best course of action is to simply trust the process.
And to be kind to ourselves along the way.
The song reminds us that we all make mistakes, we all have regrets.
It's true.
But it's important to learn from those experiences and move forward.
With compassion and understanding.
It's about letting go of self-judgment, embracing the imperfections that make us human.
And finding joy in the everyday, even when life feels challenging or mundane.
Dancing in our living rooms, savoring a good meal,
appreciating those simple pleasures that often go unnoticed,
cultivating a sense of gratitude for the gift of life,
for the opportunity to experience all that it has to offer,
both the joys and the sorrows,
and to protect ourselves, both physically and emotionally.
To wear sunscreen, of course.
Always wear sunscreen.
But also to set boundaries, prioritize our mental health, make choices that nourish our souls.
Be proactive in our own well-being.
Recognizing that we have a responsibility to ourselves.
To live a life that is both fulfilling and sustainable.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's your biggest takeaway?
What will you be carrying with you from this exploration?
Of everybody's free to wear sunscreen.
For me, it's that reminder that life is a journey,
not a destination.
Savoring the moments, embracing the ups and downs.
Learning and growing along the way.
That's it.
Beautifully said.
What about you?
For me, it's the call to action embedded in those lyrics.
Oh, yeah.
To sing, to dance, to do one thing every day that scares me.
I like that.
To live a life that's both meaningful and adventurous.
It's a reminder that we have the power to create the life we want.
To step outside our comfort zones.
To embrace the unknown with courage and curiosity.
Well said.
That about wraps it up for this deep dive.
It does. Thanks for joining us on this exploration of life advice through the lens of pop culture.
We hope you've gleaned some valuable insights.
Maybe even been inspired to create your own personal soundtrack.
For a life well lived.
We'll be back soon with another deep dive into a fascinating topic.
Until then, take care.
And keep those sunscreen bottles handy.